Welcome back to Rooted Deeply, the podcast. If you are new here, I'm Danielle Murray, and this podcast is all about loving God, loving others, and raising a generation who will do the same. Today, we are diving into expectations. So we've been talking a lot about marriage lately. We've been talking about miscommunication in marriage, and assuming positive intent and what that does and how that helps change your marriage for the better. One thing that ties so closely to that is expectations, setting and meeting each other's expectations. It's something I think we often assume should happen naturally and automatically, but it almost never does. I think within a marriage, we have to be really mindful that we are communicating our expectations on a regular basis. I know for me, they change often through seasons of life, through, the amount of energy I might have, maybe ebbing and flowing with my cycle even. So it's important for me to communicate my expectations with my husband clearly. And it's the same thing for him. I want him to communicate his expectations so that I can meet them. Because I think when we really love each other, neither one of us wants to not live up to the expectations of our spouse. We want to be able to provide what they need for them. So it's important to just establish that. Today, though, I want to actually talk about expectations from a parenting perspective, because I think that they are equally, if not even more important for our children. I want to start with Matthew 5:37. This is just the great foundation for what I want to talk about today. That says, "Let what you say simply be yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil." So he's trying to communicate that we shouldn't be taking oaths, that our word should be enough. As believers, that what we say is a reflection of our character and our integrity. When we start adding to it and swearing and promising, we can cross the line into being manipulative. Sometimes we are deceiving ourselves with our best intentions. We want to say yes to something. We want to say no to something, because in our mind, that's how it's going to work out. We're deceiving ourselves. And so in turn, we end up deceiving others. It is so important to keep our word, especially when others are depending on us. And our children are depending on us every day. Our children's worldview is built around taking in our words and our actions. So not just both. They don't just listen to what we tell them. They also watch what we do. They also wait for the follow through. So it's so important that our yes is yes and our no is no. For a child who has very little autonomy over their day, their expectations are built on trusting what we say and what we communicate to them. This is something that we are very much still working on. I can tell you with 8 kids, it can be easy to have the best intentions about something. Like, we're going to do something, maybe watch a movie, maybe get a treat, maybe go somewhere, and then things get off course quickly. Either work took too long or, we have farm animals and sometimes they get out of their fencing and it can throw off the whole day. Like this morning when we woke up getting ready to record a podcast, and the calf and one of our Great Pyrenees was out. So it took a little bit to get that situated. And so that kind of throws off the plan sometimes. So it's really important to be able to teach our children when to have grace for a situation, when to be willing to go with the flow and be understanding that we had the best intentions in mind. But there were also times when it just felt easier to change our mind about something. You know what? Let's just do it tomorrow. It would be easier. We've got this and this going on, or I don't personally feel up for it anymore. All of those little things we don't think much of because it's easy just to bend and go with the flow. But when you're a child without autonomy over your day, having those expectations constantly turned upside down can be really difficult, and it erodes their trust in us. Even something so small as, hey, we're going to go to the library this week. Oh, you know what? Let's just wait till next week. It didn't work out. Okay, not today. We'll do it tomorrow. Sorry, guys, today was crazy. Let's wait until tomorrow. And I hate it. I hate it so much, but that is the reality sometimes of life. And I have seen the effect it has on our children, where their trust starts to erode and they start to question whether they can count on us to do what we say we'll do. So So there was a time equally when I didn't want to set any expectations. In my effort to not void my word to them, I would just keep things so open-ended and not give them any concrete expectations. And that led to even more frustration and chaos. So when we go through the day and just randomly throw something at our children, I'm not randomly picking up things and throwing them at our children. I'm not randomly picking up things and throwing them at our children. I am talking about, hey, could you please go clean your room? Hey, I really need you to take care of the rabbit hutch today. Clean it out. Hey, I need some help with laundry. Whatever it is that I'm throwing at them, they sometimes will get really off track by that. They will complain, maybe melt down a little, get really frustrated. Usually it's because in their mind, they have a plan laid out that they've created for themselves. They are going to go outside and they're going to go down to the creek and they're going to look for salamanders and they're going to build them a little habitat. Whatever it is that they had kind of pictured themselves doing for the day, that's the expectation that they built for themselves. I am coming in saying, whoosh, ripping away those expectations they had and replacing it with my own expectation in the moment. It's a big adjustment for a child. They don't have the maturity emotionally. They are not, even their brains physically are not developed enough to kind of handle that quick change in direction. So we see the fruit of that in their behavior and in the inability for them to keep their emotions in check while they process that. It's our job to come alongside them and guide them through that, yes, but what will help them even more is setting the expectation early on. When we start the day with a round table, essentially, even if it's just one child that we need to set an expectation for, if we say, hey, today I really need this and this done, once you do that, you're free to do whatever else you'd like to do, or here's how today's going to go. So we actually do have a family calendar on the wall. It's digital. We can add in their chores and to-do lists. It is so helpful for this because I can just lay out the things I need done in a to-do list and they can go choose the ones they want and add it to their own personal list. Then they can check it off. We have built it around them knowing your free time comes after the things on this list. We contribute first to the home and our family, and then you're free to do what you want. So just that alone, setting an expectation for when they get their free time versus when it's time to contribute and do chores, setting the expectation of what chores need to be accomplished in a day. I used to give them one thing at a time. There would be days where they would know it was a cleaning day and they're fine with it, but the list would go on and on and on because it wasn't actually a list. It was, okay, go do this. Well, now let's go take care of this over here. Okay, have you done this yet? No. Okay, well, that needs to be done. And so for them, it's just like, this is never ending. They had no expectation of when they would be done, and that's what they needed. They needed to know that there was a start and a finish and that they would have, free time or just downtime, or that it just wasn't going to go on and on probably forever is probably how it feels to kids. So setting those expectations for them really can shape the way that they, their willingness to be involved and to participate in things that they don't necessarily enjoy. When they wake up and we give them a clear plan, this is how the day's going to go. I need these things accomplished. Here's who's going to do them. Because if I just say, here's my list of things I need to get done and don't even give them each individual expectations, we still end up with chaos. So I need to be specific. I need to give each of them, here's your tasks. These are done, and then you can have free time, and then you can go work on schoolwork, and then you can go outside. Whatever it is that they're wanting to do, just setting the expectation of what order the day is going to go in, what is on the agenda for the day, and when they get to just be in charge of their own time can make the biggest difference in how they respond to the things I'm asking them to do. And it's because we were built for expectations. Even from the Garden of Eden, God created man and woman. He gave us a job. He told us to steward the garden, to tend to it, to care for the animals. And he told us not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He gave us clear expectations of what we were supposed to do and what we were not supposed to do. God clearly said, do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for you will surely die. We questioned that, ate from the tree anyway, and found out that God is true to his word. So this is where it ties back into letting our yes be yes and our no be no. Even though he gave us an expectation of what not to do, he told us what would happen. We did it anyway. There's a negative outcome, but it still builds our trust in him. It still allows us to see God is good. What he says will come to pass. His yes is yes, his no is no. This is so important when we're trying to raise our children to trust in God and to know that they can trust in him. First off, it's important for us to set that example because we are just like their earthly example of the love of God. And we will never measure up to the way he loves us. But we really should be doing the absolute best that we can. And that really starts with being trustworthy. In Proverbs 13:12, it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. This speaks to the damage that unmet expectations can have. We can have hope without our expectations being met, or without our expectations even being communicated. Like my children, for example, have hope for how their day is going to go, all the things they're going to get checked off of their little imaginary playlist of fun and excitement. They're hoping for this wonderful, amazing day that's going to be filled with like adventure and awesomeness. And when that hope gets taken away and replaced with chores or schoolwork or things that they don't really want to do, it upsets them. However, this isn't just about giving them all the things they want and indulging in it. It does say a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. But our children's desires are going to be largely shaped on our influence, at least while they're young, on our expectations for the day. So again, that desire being fulfilled could look like, hey, let's get our chores done and then we'll go outside and we'll go down to the creek together. We'll spend some time playing together. Hey, why don't you do your schoolwork today and then we'll make some cookies later. And then we have to, as parents, honor the thing we said we would do, right? That yes needs to be yes, but we've attached the expectation to a reward. This allows our expectations of them to be met because they have something they are working towards. They then have an expectation of us that we can meet. It builds the relationship. It builds the trust. It is a tree of life. In Jeremiah 29:11, God says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And he continues, then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and I will restore your fortunes and gather you from all the nations and all the places where I have driven you, declares the Lord, and I will bring you back to the place from which I sent you into exile. He is setting expectations. He is telling him what to expect. And what that does for Jeremiah is it encourages him, it strengthens him, and it builds trust with God. It allows him to be encouraged that God has a plan for hope and a future, a positive plan, and he means good for his life. It strengthens him. How much more resolve do you have to do something when you know that the outcome is promised and the outcome is good? I mean, when we go into something with uncertainty, we're going to be a little more hesitant, a little more reluctant. But when we have God promising us good, it strengthens us. It gives us the confidence to walk into it, knowing we've already won. And then it builds that trust with him because when we see God's faithfulness at work, when we see that his yes is yes and his no's are no, then we know that if God said it, we can count on it. So we can see the benefit of God setting expectations for Jeremiah, for the Israelites in the wilderness. We just celebrated Passover, and we can see all through that story where God said, here's what I want you to do. Choose a lamb without blemish or spot. Sacrifice it. Put the blood over the doorposts of your house and your gates. Stay inside. Eat with your shoes on. Be ready to go. He gave them a whole list of what to expect because he was getting ready to deliver them from Egypt. They did what he said, and he delivered them from Egypt. But I think even in that, we see that God gave them an expectation of delivering them into a promised land, yet only 2 out of the original millions that went into the wilderness made it to that promised land because of their own hardened hearts, their own refusal to trust God and follow him. So I think it's okay that when we give our children an expectation from us that we will do something, that we ask for something in return, that we set an expectation of them in return and tell them, this is your part in this. This is how you can contribute to making this happen. Because again, we don't want to say yes and then it be no. We don't want to say no and then it's a yes. We want our yes to be yes. We want our no to be no. And then all of this points back to Proverbs 19:21, which says, many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. That's where teaching our children grace comes in, teaching them to understand that we can set expectations, we can make plans, we can have every intention to stand by our yeses and our nos. There are some situations that are still outside of our control. I think the perfect way to explain this, a couple weeks ago, John and I went to an interview for a friend's podcast, and the traffic on the other side of the road was insane, bumper to bumper for honestly probably 5 miles. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And it's because there was a really serious car accident. A lot of times when I'm late, didn't get out the door at the time I wanted to, or something frustrating happened along the way and I'm delayed, and then I see an accident like that, it just makes me realize maybe all of those frustrations in the morning, all of the things that went wrong were delaying me from being involved in this. And that's something we've talked to our kids a lot about before, is like, sometimes we have plans and expectations that don't line up with God's. And so he will put his hand on it in a way to prevent or delay, or to pour out in some other way, so that when we are truly seeking his will, truly submitting to him, willing to lay it all down for him, he will guide us and he will direct our paths. God gives us free will, but at the end of the day, when our hearts are submitted to him and we are willing to be used by him, he can move and guide us however he needs to accomplish his will. So I think that goes hand in hand with teaching our children that and it probably comes down to communicating. We absolutely want to do this. This is on our list. It is important to us because we know it's important to you. I cannot give you an absolute guarantee of exactly what day we will get to do it, but I need you to know that I do value it and that we will make it happen. Sometimes it comes down to just communicating it clearly like that I want to give you an expectation, but I can't commit to a certain day or time because I don't want to break that. I don't want to disappoint you. Or saying, we want to try for tomorrow. If it doesn't happen, I need you to know that we're going to go on this day. So have a backup plan. Give them as much information as you can. If there's contingency involved, give them that. That's all part of expectation. It doesn't just mean this is the exact day and time and that's it. Count on that. And if I don't, you can just, write me off. It doesn't mean that. It means give them all the information you can. Give them as much of an expectation as you can, even if that expectation is, I'm going to do my best, but I can't make any promises. That is going to help build their trust in you. And when they have trust in you, they will come to you with things. They will know that they can count on you. They will talk to you. They will open up to you. They will want your help and involvement in their life and in their struggles. And you will see a new relationship develop and blossom. I think the more we do that when they're younger, the better our relationship with them through those teenage years will be. I hope this has been encouraging. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you would like to get plugged into our community group, we have an app called Rooted Deeply. We have different chat groups. We have live weekly discussion groups that you can participate in. We do Bible studies, all kinds of things. So if you're looking to walk through faith and parenting with a group of like-minded women, this is the place for you. The link is in the description. We would love to see you there. And I will talk to you guys next time on Rooted Deeply, the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are looking to be a part of a Christian community with other women who will build you up, encourage you, and challenge you to grow in your faith, and if you want to join in the discussions that we're having in the Rooted Deeply podcast, we would love to have you there. You can head to rooteddeeply.org/join and get started.